Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Davis Grant.
No! Daniel Nkoola, everyone. You are the director and star of The Last Slim Jim. Why Slim Jims?
That was what they had at the camp. There was like a shrine of, I made it at this film camp, and they had a shrine of like miscellaneous snacks for us to eat over the course of the stay. There was 18 of us, and Slim Jims were just the thing that nobody else really wanted to eat. So I chose some Slim Jims because if something were to happen to the one I was filming with, there were more because nobody was eating them.
So you like Slim Jims?
Not particularly.
You mind if I have one?
You can have one, yeah. Oh.
So, this seems to come from such a real place. I would like to know that who is the person that stole your Slim Jim?
I've never had a Slim Jim stolen from me, but...
Ever had a Slim Jim stolen from you?
No.
Oh, here.
Okay, well now I can say that it came from a real place.
Let's move on to your next film, which is, I think, was much more interesting to unpack. Enrico. So,
Do I just talk about it?
you start.
I was a senior in high school, and I had applied for USC. They needed there were the essays, and then there was also like a short film under 5 minutes. So Enrico was the film that I thought was gonna get me into USC film school. And so I don't remember what the creative process was as far as coming up with it. I just know that I thought it was gonna be like my magnum opus, like the best thing I ever made up until that point. And I don't think I allowed myself enough time to get it there. And also I don't think that the brand of humor was fine-tuned enough to be accessible.
Let's unpack it one thing at a time. So, it starts off with a rap.
Yeah.
So, did you write that rap?
I did.
So, I'm assuming you know how to rap. Can you give me a little rap right now, of sorts?
I could, but I'm burnt out on that a little bit. I think there's plenty out there. If you were to want to listen to me rapping, there's a lot just sort of across the depths of the internet that you could dig up that would, I think, do better justice to my musical abilities than anything I could muster up at this moment.
I mean, we could have a rap battle right now if you want.
No, that is the opposite of what I want.
I mean, I'm just saying, like, we're both very talented. I mean, me more so than you, but only a slight.
I'll take your word for it on that.
Let's just try. I'll try a little rap. Never done it before.
That's okay. I believe you. You don't have to.
Okay, so let me. Can you give me a beat?
No.
Okay. A beat, sir. Thin like a Slim Jim, thick like a big dick. I'm done. I think that was pretty good.
Yeah.
So, let's go what happens next in the film. There's that teacher. Was that based on any real teacher that you had?
I know that was John Hankins, just sort of. I think it's based on a teacher that he's had before. I didn't give him much direction as far as the performance. Yeah, I think he was drawing from an experience of his own.
There was a line in there that did captivate all of us. When Enrico asked to use the restroom, he was given 90 standard seconds. I don't know about you, but like, when I have to urinate, it takes a while. Like, I just don't see the feasibility of urinating in 90 seconds.
Well, that was also a line that John sort of had improv. John plays the teacher. I didn't give him, there was no script handed to the actors. It was more or less, you're gonna ask him to go to the bathroom, you're gonna sort of reluctantly allow him to. And I don't even know if the interaction that Enrico has in the hallway after that adds up to 90 seconds or less. I didn't do the math on that. If I were to go back and do it again, I would have had a little timer, maybe just in the bottom left or right. But y'all are welcome to count the seconds.
I'll tell you what, we're gonna go back. I'm gonna count every second. Let's throw it up right now.
Excuse me, sir. Can I use the restroom, please?
You have 90 standard seconds.
That's the time it is. And let me tell you, I would have pissed myself in that amount of time.
Well, no, but the way that my high school was laid out in such a way that the audio video room where we shot it had a sort of back entrance that led directly to one of the restrooms. So if he were to run, just sort of rip the fly open, right? So he runs out the back end. Well, in the movie, he takes the front entrance. So he takes the front entrance, gets into the bathroom. If he's running, that's maybe 10 to 15 seconds. Let's say 5 seconds to be safe to get the fly open. That's 20, right? Depending on how, and keep in mind, this is entirely hypothetical because the character didn't need to use the bathroom. He needed an excuse to go out and get answers to the math test, just to be clear. So if Enrico were to actually leave at that point, he wouldn't have to use the bathroom per se, so it would take him maybe about, to be safe, let's say 10 seconds, so that's 30. Let's give him another 5 to get the fly done again, right? We're at 35 seconds.
Are we assuming he's washing his hands?
He is.
This is a guy in high school, though. Like, I'm assuming that most people in that scenario don't wash their hands.
I washed my hands in high school. And also that character would wash his hands because he wants to be impressive to the young woman in his class that he's trying to get the answers for. So in this hypothetical bathroom trip, we're at 35 seconds, he's just done his fly. Let's say 5 seconds to walk to the sink, put soap in his hands. To be safe, right? So we're at 40 seconds.
Don't we have to add time for him to actually urinate?
No, we did. I gave him 10 seconds. We already incorporated that because he didn't really need to go. He was
Okay.
leaving to cheat, right?
Fair enough.
So we're at 40 seconds. He's about to wash his hands. Let's say now it's what is the number? Like 10 seconds, 10 Mississippis. 10 Mississippis, which is closer to
these are
about
standard seconds, no Mississippis.
standard seconds, 10 standard seconds to wash his hands, or rather to have his hands sort of lathering under the faucet, plus another 5 seconds to account for turning it on and off to be safe. It wouldn't take that long to be safe.
Is he gonna dry, or is he gonna dry with paper towels, or air dry by running?
I'm trying to remember what we had in that bathroom, because now we're at 55 seconds. How long did we give it for him to leave? We gave it 15 for him to leave and get back. So if we're at 55 seconds...
Plus 15, that would be...
70.
70.
So now that leaves him 20 standard seconds to dry in whatever way that he wants.
Okay.
Before going back to the classroom.
I guess
so he could do it.
Excuse me, sir. Can I use the restroom, please?
You have 90 standard seconds.
It's feasible, but it's just not the experience that I want when I have to urinate.
I understand you want leisure, you want freedom, you want to be able to not be rushed.
I like to sit down when I urinate, and just like I like to sit down, have my cup of coffee.
I understand. You don't need
get
to
my paper.
elaborate.
Your actor himself, Enrico.
He was, I think, my closest friend, and I think my most reliable friend. As far as stuff that I made in audio video class, he was always, because I didn't have to do a lot of work to explain what so Enrico in the movie is played by Enrique Ruiz, who studies media at UNT currently. We met in 7th grade book club or something like that. And we started making stuff together over the course of several years. We went into AV class together, we did the announcements together. It was like our thing. So that offbeat kind of brand of humor is one that I feel like we sort of got to fine-tune together. And it was nice to have someone that encouraged me to be more self-indulgent. I think usually when you're a filmmaker in high school, you're sort of taught to conform and taught to do things conventionally, and that's usually where the criticism would stem, right? And so it was nice to have someone in my life that would always push me further in the direction of...
Worse. He pushed you to be worse.
Not worse, just more interesting, I think. But he's, he on his own is a gifted storyteller, and we still keep in touch. He and I are good friends.
So, I think the question on all of our minds at Boom in the Shot is, why is he so sexy? To be honest,
the glow up. Is that what you're talking about?
We have seen all these actors, not just in your film, and most of them are. I want to wipe my ass with them. They are disgusting. But Enrico is one of the sexiest men I've ever seen in my life.
So his real name is Enrique. Enrico's the character he plays. But Enrique, after we graduated, he cut his hair. So the hairstyle that you see in the short film is typically that's what he's had since I met him, right? And so after high school, he cut it, and it was, people that went to our high school that go to UNC with him didn't even recognize him after he cut his hair.
Just for reference, to show our audience, Enrico, this is Enrique now. Some evidence, would you like to see some?
I've seen the pictures, but yeah. I'll hold one up.
Yes.
Oh, it's the same picture 3 times. He doesn't upload a ton, but yeah, this is him now.
I mean, I think we can all recognize that he became much more sexy in his life. So I just want to know, why didn't you become as sexy as him?
That's a good question. One I don't have the answer to.
I mean, I'm just looking at this guy. He has the jean jacket, the watch, the hair, the fierce look in his eyes. I mean...
Yeah, I don't have any of those things.
I think I speak for the entire Boom in the Shot cast and crew when I say we'd fuck the shit out of him. So, last thing see about Bitcoin.
Yeah.
That was one of the contention plots in Enrico. Explain Bitcoin to me.
I couldn't. I have no idea what it was. The character was making fun of this kid in our class who would sort of go off about cryptocurrencies and cyber stuff, and nobody ever knew what he was talking about. And so he was supposed to play that person, but he was sick from school that day, so I got Stanley to do it. I was like, Stanley, you know how Josh just will go off about, his like secret life as a hacker, and Stanley's like, yeah, and I was like, can you act like that? And he was like, sure. But I couldn't explain to you Bitcoin.
At all. I assumed you were the Bitcoin master. That you just had all the Bitcoin.
No.
Because, I have to say, I'm kind of a little disappointed in that.
Sorry, I don't have any Bitcoin. If I did, I'm sure I'd be a little wealthier.
Anything you want to plug, Daniel?
So, on Twitter and maybe potentially other platforms, we're looking into that right now. A web series that I wrote and directed and then created with the help of a stellar group of actors and crew members is on Twitter. It's called Fake 2018 XXL Freshman Class. You should check it out if you get an opportunity and if you want to hear me rap.
Well, thank you for coming on.
Yeah, thank you for having me. And thank you for the Slim Jim. I hadn't eaten when I came, so.
Well, that was the last Slim Jim.
You're holding one, but. That's the last Slim Jim. You're holding it. You're holding the last Slim Jim. There we go.